This will surprise you. In the 13th century, in the African kingdom of Mali, a prince was destined to inherit the throne from his father. There are two versions of what happened when the prince was about 10 years old. One is that his father died and the prince's older brother seized the throne and was then overthrown himself by a neighboring tyrant king named Sumanguru. The other version is that Sumanguru killed the prince's father and then took the throne for himself. But what is certain is that either way, the prince fled into exile to save his life. Meanwhile, back in Mali, Sumanguru's tyrannical rule destroyed the economy and made life a living hell for the ordinary Malian citizen. Years later, emissaries from Mali located the prince and begged him to return and retake his kingdom. The prince reluctantly agreed and began to gather an army. And since Sumanguru had managed to piece off many other small kingdoms in the region, many of them rallied to the prince. The prince and Sumanguru met at the Battle of Kirina in AD 1235, where despite being outnumbered, the prince defeated and killed Sumanguru and reclaimed his kingdom. Having united numerous small kingdoms in his fight against Sumanguru, the prince founded the Mali Empire, which at one point had Timbuktu as its capital. The Mali Empire became so rich that modern scholars claim that during the 14th century, it even supplied 2/3 of the world's gold. At its height during the 14th century, the Mali Empire was one of the largest in the world, spanning from the Atlantic Ocean to present-day Niger. Now, in many African cultures, people identify their inner spirits with certain animals, which is often the same one their fathers identify with. While the prince's mother identified hers with the buffalo, the prince's father identified his with the lion. So by default, the prince identified his inner spirits with the lion as well. And if the prince's story sounds familiar, it is probably because you may have heard something similar before. Think about it. In Africa, a young prince's father is killed. He is driven into exile, and then he reluctantly returns, avenges his father, and reclaims the throne. The name of that Malian prince was Sundiata Keita. Throughout Malian and West African history, he has also always simply been known as the Lion King.